Hello, my name is Alex Winn, and today I will be sharing with you all my presentation on public art and urban space. So, in today's presentation, I'm going to discuss what public art is and its usage in urban space and identify some of the trends and characteristics of public art. Then I'm going to showcase and discuss some examples of public art in urban areas, urban spaces, and then at the end, we're going to facilitate some discussions around public art and some of the specific works that I show. All right, so right off the bat, if you saw Alex's presentation before mine, he dove into public art really well. If you didn't, I'll skim through it real quick. Public art, it's a pretty broad term, kind of as you can tell, it kind of speaks for itself. It's a broad term that essentially encapsulates various styles of art that is in a community or an urban space, which is included but not limited to things like graffiti, statues, murals, writing, sculptures, etc. To the right is an example of public art that is Franz Kafka's head, actually, that is in Prague, which I have been fortunate enough to see in person. And it moves and it spins around, and it's really cool. You should check that out on YouTube or in person if you ever get a chance to do so. But that is a great example of public art. And depending on the kind of art, they differ in location within a city, but most of it is around or in metropolitan areas so that people can interact with it, as well as so that the art itself can interact with, the buildings in the city. Why is it important? Like, what about public art is important? I mean, I think this is something that you individually have to ask yourself and answer for yourself. But some of the things I wrote down is that it reflects communities, it challenges or inspires people. It can be used as both rebellion towards someone or something, or as a means to unite people towards someone or something. And it can invite community engagement. So right here, are two really kind of well known examples, I would say, of public art. On the right here is the Berlin Wall, part of the Berlin Wall, which I've also been fortunate enough to see in person. These are two men kissing. This came out. I don't remember when this was originally painted. I think it was pretty soon after the wall fell. But it kind of reflects the kind of the scene of what West Berlin was going for, and how they wanted to rebel against the very closed-minded society that had been ruling over them. That still is there, and that's extremely famous. And throughout the whole wall are very provocative paintings and murals of all kinds. And then to the left is the Bean in Chicago, which when I looked it up, I found no good answer for why it's there. It really is just to invite community engagement. It's fun. It's interesting. It's like an iconic thing. Uh, nice little pun. It reflects communities, but not very funny. I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, these are both examples of public art, just very different examples, much like the Kafka one. They're all three very different, and it goes to reflect that public art is not really you can't really put it in a box per se. The first thing that I want to look at is Zain Gim by Tito Na Rua. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that semi correctly. Um, what is it? What is Zain Gem? So this is street art in the form of comics by artist Tito Na Rua, which translates to Tito on the street. And this artist's real name is Alberto Serrano. Serrano is the son of a Puerto Rican immigrant who immigrated to Brazil, and his character Zayn Gem draws similarities between Serrano's father and the experience of an immigrant living in Brazil. Um, the artist oftentimes talks about how his father would wear kind of this outfit that this character portrayed has. He would wear open sandals, and he looked fairly Brazilian to the people, but he was also an immigrant. Zayn Gem translates to nobody in English, which I think is very interesting, and I'll let you think about that yourself. So the story of Zayn Gem, it essentially follows this main character, this guy here with this mustache, who's looking for his lover Anna throughout Brazil and Rio de Janeiro. It's almost like a damsel in distress kind of story. Um, there was a great article in our suggested readings about it by Ivan Liman Gomez, and they describe it as Zayn Gem focuses on the experience of transit and displacement, bringing new meaning to spaces because, as well as searching for his loved one, which brings a necessary touch of adventure to the series, He is also marked out by his condition as an immigrant. Gomez goes on to say, the city of Rio de Janeiro itself is a major character in Zayn Yem. We are introduced to a complex city which spreads out way beyond the tourist hotspots often associated with the city. In fact, beaches and other famous landscapes are scarce in this work. The medium used for Zayn Yem comics are the walls and facades of the city present in the daily lives of many ordinary people, a factor that reinforces the links between the protagonist and many average people living in Rio de Janeiro. To put that into shorter or simpler terms, the Zayn Yem comments aren't going to be, in the places that, I, or probably most of you, would initially think about Brazil, right? You think Brazil, you think beaches, you think the big, Jesus holding his arms out. I mean, you think of those kind of big spots, and the artist chooses to kind of put them more in the actual day-to-day world of the streets of Rio de Janeiro, almost to symbolically represent this character and try to represent and draw connections with the people that are living in this city and what their day-to-day lives are like. So I think that is a very interesting component of this work. Okay, real quick, we're going to watch a short video by a Brazilian news network on the artist and this work. It is in Portuguese. Real quick, I'm going to put English closed captions on this. 1 second. Let's hope this works. I downloaded a couple softwares to make sure that I could get these videos to play well because I think they're cool and important. All right, this should work.
Uma donzela em perigo, um bom momento para parecer o herói. Mas olha quem vem lá, é o Zé Ninguém com uma engenhoca feita de sucata e lixo para salvar Ana, o amor de sua vida. Zé Ninguém virou figurinha fácil nas ruas da cidade. Criado pelo grafiteiro Tito, Zé Ninguém é um sem-teto que vaga pelo rio com vira-lata atrás de sua amada. A história dele está contada em mais de 200 grafites espalhados pela cidade. Na parede do prédio do Instituto Nacional de Câncer, na zona portuária, está o maior quadrinho de rua do mundo, com 400 metros quadrados. As aventuras de Zé Ninguém já viraram animação e até livro.
Esse livro, não só você tem a questão do diálogo da palavra com a imagem, como você tem também o diálogo na composição com a rua. Muitas vezes a gente previa alguma coisa no storyboard, aí quando você chegava no muro que você tinha para pintar, e o espaço era completamente diferente, então você tinha que resolver não só o espaço da rua, mas o espaço da página diante do novo cenário da rua. Então, não nada linear, muito diferente de qualquer outro livro.
Filho de porto-riquenho, o americano Tito se inspirou no próprio pai para criar o personagem, que parece bem brasileiro. Tito cresceu no Bronx, trabalhou como segurança e veio para o Brasil por causa de um amor, a atual esposa Flávia. Ele começou a desenhar no papel, mas logo percebeu que teria mais visibilidade fazendo sua arte na rua. Em palestra na PUC-Rio, o artista contou que a internet ajuda a divulgar seu trabalho, mas o retorno financeiro ainda não veio.
Retorno, pelo que eu tenho feito, acho que vai demorar muitos anos, né? Porque muitos anos de dedicação antes de ir na rua, antes de criar o Zé Ninguém, sem falar do que o trabalho que eu passei fazendo esse projeto e quanto eu me quebrei para fazer. Tipo assim, então, o retorno para mim só quando tiver uma mansão na Europa, uma coisa assim.
Este professor afirma que é difícil fazer arte de rua no Brasil, já que o mercado é dominado por quadrinhos, como os mangás.
Uma possível inserção nesse mercado passa, em primeiro lugar, pela escolha de que tipo de quadrinho você está querendo fazer, para você poder saber qual é a disponibilidade de mercado que você tem. Um caso muito comum é a gente ter aqueles alunos que desenham mangá japonês e tem aquele típico traço de mangá japonês. Isso é muito complicado, porque já tem mangaka o suficiente no Japão para ocupar o mercado do mundo inteiro.
All right. So I hope that turned out well on your end. Um, Real quick, these are just three examples of some street art that I just kind of put a little bigger on the screen here, so you can just get a little bit better example of what you would see if you were in Rio de Janeiro. Some other quick notes about Zaingen works. Many characters depicted in these comics are black, especially women, which introduces an element of racial representation that is, as Gomez puts it, still relatively uncommon in the production of Brazilian graphic novels. And then from an artistic standpoint, the vibrant colors and definitive style and shapes of lines and, circles. I mean, I'm not an artist, but as you can, as you see here, they're very clear and pronounced, you know, works and styles of art. And they make these paintings stand out on the street and diversify them just from random various graffiti on the walls. And right here, I have a quick quote by the artist. Um, Talking about this work. It's a different artistic language, but at the same time, it isn't. What I did was take comics and graffiti back to their origins, which was a caveman writing on the wall that he had killed a buffalo. It was a story he graffitied. So I'm returning to that, but using the resources we have today, like spray paint, sharing on the internet, and via the printed book. I think that is really interesting. I got a couple quick questions for you all about Zane Gem. The first one is, how does the Tito Narua's interaction with the urban landscape of Rio differ from the other street art you've seen before? Do you think it makes people interact with the art differently? Zane Gem is also a comic book. Which do you think is a better platform to showcase the story? Street art or comic books or even television? As you saw from that clip, sometimes they'll be on TV. And Tito Narua illustrates an immigrant story in a way that is more humorous and fun than many other works. What are your thoughts on this approach to art and specifically street art, public art? All right, the next thing I want to look at and show to you guys is the Anastasio Hernandez mural project in Chicano Park in San Diego. So I'm moving into the United States now. I actually did my Tuesday discussion post on this, but I wanted to showcase it here particularly because I'd been looking at it before that discussion post and put it here, and I thought that it answered both of those really well. So I'm gonna run through that real quick. Before I get into it, this is the Anastasio Hernandez project mural in Chicano Park in San Diego. I'm just gonna give you 10-15 seconds just to look at it. Obviously, you can't see everything perfectly, but just kind of take it in. So this is one side of it. This is beneath a highway. And then this is the other side of it right here. So I'll give you a bit of time to just look at that before I kind of say anything about it. All right. So about this project, this is a mural dedicated to Anastasio Hernandez Rojas, a longtime San Diego resident and undocumented immigrant who died as a result of an altercation with Border Patrol at the San Isidro border crossing in 2010. This mural was led by master muralist Victor Ochoa, a local community artist painted the mural on the 50-foot tall pillars that hold up the Coronado Bridge. It obviously addresses some pretty heavy topics in a very engaging way. Artistically, this piece is quite beautiful, vibrant, challenging, and reflects a lot of struggles that many residents of San Diego and their families experienced while immigrating to the United States. And here is a news video about this.
We are here at Chicano Park. Next to the fountain area. We call this the plaza area.
Artist Victor Ochoa has been painting murals in Chicano Park for half a century, and he brings a lot of history with him.
Even though I was born in the United States, my parents were undocumented. I caught the brunt of Operation Wetback, where they kicked us out to Tijuana. So to me, the issue of immigration as a Chicano it's also been continuous. It's gotten worse and worse. So even when we were conceptualizing this mural, we were getting all these images constantly, from the drowning of the father and his daughter to the caged children
Ochoa and his team of artists, some of them his students, are fully aware that they are painting a mural about a 10-year-old injustice, while fresh news breaks over George Floyd's death while in police custody.
How does it feel? It feels that there's a need to have this mural dedicated to this issue. You know, we have to have justice, and we have to check how these officers are dealing with our people.
The mural uses freeway arches to create a kind of altar for Anastasio Hernandez Rojas.
You know, a lot of us, if we get our green card and we feel that we're not being harassed by immigration, we sort of forget the issue. And I would like to say that the mural sort of refreshes our mind that it's still going on, and that even though we have cards or papeles, as they say, there's still the issues going on in the community. So this is something that's going to reawaken that awareness.
Work on the Chicano Park mural was delayed because of COVID-19, but Ochoa and his team are back painting and hope to have the 50-foot, two-sided mural completed in August. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
So obviously that mural is, completed.
We are here.
As you can see here, I think it turned out really, really cool, really beautiful. And yeah, you can look at it again real quick after watching that video. But yeah, moving on from that. Yeah, well, actually, I want to say one thing real quick about that before we get into these discussion questions. Obviously, those are both very different pieces, and I think it's interesting to look at just different styles and different ways that people do public art and interact with their community. And I think it goes to show that certain works can be more on the fun side, and certain works can be more on the political side, or on the painful side of things. And I think both have an interesting place in communities for that, which also kind of flows into my question here. So obviously the two examples that I showed are very different, and they reflect and interact with different communities. What similarities or differences stand out between them? Do you think that one is more impactful than the other? In your opinion, is public art actually a means to benefit a community and raise awareness, or is it more just a reflection of a moment or an idea? And what I mean by that is, in your opinion, do you see public art as a way that people are like, oh, that is really meaningful and I want to go out and do something about it? Or is it more, oh, that's cool that they're, talking about that. I enjoy that that's still a part of the community. Which do you kind of think it more is? And, maybe even which would you prefer it to be? And then the last one is a bit different. In our country, we have seen public art of historical figures or moments, Confederate soldiers, slave owners, and other historical, figures or moments, removed or destroyed, especially during the Black Lives Matter movements. Should there be a filter on what art is put into a community? Do people have the right to destroy public art that they don't agree with? So yeah, I kind of threw out a lot of different questions here. I hope that you guys, answer one or two of them, because I'd love to hear what you say. And then these are my sources for this presentation. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day.